Next, we have Evan Dyer from the CBC.
Hi there. I heard your opening comments about the potential rail strike, but I'm just wondering, you've been talking about affordability and, one of the issues there is the price of groceries and so on. And any kind of a major interruption of rail delivery would cause those things to spike. Do you not have concerns about the effect that a strike by fairly well-paid workers at places like CN and CP would have on low-income Canadians who have to buy groceries?
I would not be pitting workers against each other. This is about a big boss that's making massive profits, that's not treating the workers fairly, and are not negotiating in good faith. If they negotiated in good faith, if CP Rail and CN Rail negotiated in good faith, there would be a settlement. And the settlement's about making sure workers get paid a decent wage that keeps up with the cost of living, something I frankly think every worker should get, as well as keeping the workers safe, because keeping workers safe directly impacts overall safety of the rail system. And that is something that we've seen under the Conservatives. When we erode rail safety, there are serious disasters, and that cannot happen again. So this is really about the CN Rail and CP Rail, big profitable corporations trying to exploit workers, and we should stop that from happening. There should be a fair settlement negotiated, and the federal government should not be intervening to tip the scales towards these big companies again. That is wrong, and we will oppose that.
And
actually, just one second piece. Our big concern around the cost of groceries is that big corporations are ripping off Canadians again in that area. We saw the bread price fixing, where they made billions of dollars, it turns out, ripping off Canadians. And the biggest fine that they were awarded, or the biggest fine against them for one of the major players, was only $50 million for Canada Bread Company. So how is that going to deter them from doing it again? That's what I mean when I talk about the rules that are rigged against people and in favor of these large corporations, when they have very little jeopardy they're facing and they can make massive profits ripping off people and breaking the law. What's to stop them from doing it again? They already did it. That's what I'm saying. We got to change the rules to protect people from being exploited and gouged by these corporations that have already done so. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about affordability.
And I heard you say you don't want the federal government to put its finger on the scales on the side of the employer, but why would sending this dispute to binding arbitration, for example, be taking the side of the employer? Wouldn't that simply be putting it into a venue where it can be decided independently and fairly?
Well, it takes away the right to negotiate. And fundamentally, the right to negotiate is about fairness, in fact, for both parties. And workers, in all cases, would rather negotiate fairly at the table rather than be forced to go into binding arbitration, which could go either way. Depending on the arbitrariness of the arbitrator, it could be something that hurts the workers. It could favor the employer. We don't know. What is more fair is to negotiate at the table. And binding arbitration is something that the employers want to see happen for some reason. It must benefit them. And so what we want in all cases is workers to be able to negotiate their settlements, their agreements in a fair way. That is the fundamental principle of a collective agreement. That is what New Democrats believe in. It is clear from example of again and again that neither the Liberals and Justin Trudeau nor Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives care in the same way about having fair negotiated settlements and agreements. That's the difference between us and them.
Next, we have Mickey Durjic from the Canadian Press.
Thanks. On the same topic, so I guess, would the NDP ever support back to work legislation for this potential work stoppage?
No.
And then, I guess, why not?
I think it's wrong. I think there's many other solutions. You got to work on forcing the employers to negotiate fairly. Again, this is an example of two highly profitable companies that want to take advantage of the workers. That's wrong. They should negotiate fairly in good faith and come to settlements. We believe in that. That is our principle. We will always find ways to encourage fair, settled agreements, negotiated agreements. That is who we are as a party. That's our belief, and we'll continue to support that every step of the way. You'll see Liberals waver on this. You'll see Conservatives jump to the help of big corporations to rip off Canadians. That's not us. We believe that workers should be always kept first. There's already too many disadvantages that workers experience. And so we want to always defend the right for working people to get a fair deal when it comes to getting a fair deal with their employer.
Seeing no other questions, I'll send it back to you, Jagmeet.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for everybody for being here. Really honored to be able to stand with our candidate, Lisa Roberts, candidate for Halifax, and your next MP for Halifax. Thanks so much. Merci.